Hi there, Pink Light, and I am officially back. I hope to be getting up a lot of videos now that I have all this free time. I had a really busy summer. I did a lot of traveling and I had my kids home from school, but school is back in session. So I am ready to share with you my continued journey of awakening here because I really feel like I am still so much asleep and I am learning so much more, like data download dumps daily. So looking forward to putting that up and helping you along in your journey too. Um, we did a lot of traveling. I felt like I maybe didn't have a lot of growth. I felt kind of stagnant. But when I look back, and I especially look at the month of July, right, where it's the astrological sign there, the zodiac is the crab, the Cancer crab in its shell. And I really felt like I was in a shell for a bit of that time. But with contemplation of that time, I see that it wasn't stagnant. I did have a lot of growth, and that was primarily in the realm of food. I was consuming a lot of crazy food when I wasn't in my home, and I was out of my comfort zone with my stores, and we were all over the country staying with family and really eating what they were eating, and a lot of it consisted of meat. And I really just felt lethargic and heavy and tired after that. So, upon coming home and then watching What the Health, I don't know if you've seen that yet, but I highly recommend it. It's a documentary by Joaquin Phoenix and it's available on Netflix. So after watching What the Health, I decided that I wanted to become a vegetarian. And my daughter had already been a vegetarian for at least the last 6 months. So we pushed forward into being vegan. So maybe I'm not 100% yet, but I'm certainly trying. And my younger daughter joined us. She gave up meat as well. So a whole new path for us. We then also decided to give up gluten, which is another big thing. And I was working with an Eastern doctor with my son who's an athlete, and she showed me that his increased strength would be tremendous after he took gluten out of his diet. So I instantly was like, all right, that's enough with gluten. Let's get other flours and let's start understanding. And I'm making my own bread now. Getting a little domesticated, but really enjoying it and enjoying that I have this opportunity to teach my kids about the food that they're consuming and what's out there, and really being specific about non-GMO foods in my diet. This summer I talked to people and I was, talking about GMOs and what they are and how bad they are for you and what they're putting in the GMOs and how they're threading in the male infertility genes into the corn, and this is why the fertility rate's dropping in the Western society, and just all the different aspects to it. And the guy's like, what's a GMO? I've never even heard of one. So clearly there's a lot of education still to be put out there about this information. So gonna focus on that, and I'll share as I go along what my family's doing to feed ourselves better. Watch the food that we're putting on our table and trying to bring in the best sources that we can to power ourselves with our nutrition. So I guess I wasn't stagnant as much as I felt like I was stagnant. So with that, my vibrational frequency has increased again, and it's opened me up to be able to receive and download more information. So I'm excited. I'm growing. I'm expanding again. I've been reading this book here that my friend Jazzy suggested, the Kybalion. That has been incredibly interesting. And I today was watching a bunch of videos with William Tompkins. I don't know if you know about William Tompkins. I first saw him, I believe, on Cosmic Disclosure with David Wilcock. Tompkins was a part of the secret space program. He starts his story. I was watching Project Camelot today, and he had started a story probably back in 1942. So he was sharing that forward, and I just so much information. Was already on to part 2 today, and just really soaking it all up like a sponge. He transitioned on Monday, at least that's the official story, is that he left the planet and passed away, obviously, and left the planet. And I pray that that happened with grace and ease for him and his family. But he really was sharing a lot of information with humanity and pushing us towards disclosure. And he wasn't a whistleblower. He was actually sanctioned by the military to provide this information to us. So I did go ahead and order his book today, Selected by Extraterrestrials. And I'm looking forward to reading that, as well as finishing that video that I was watching of him, and then continuing to seek out any other information he has out there. I'm just sorry I wasn't paying more attention while he was here, but A lot of it's only been coming out for the last year and a half, and he was very hopeful for disclosure to humanity. And that's what this is all about, right? Waking up and us remembering and learning the truth and knowing who we are and sorting through all this misinformation and disinformation that's pouring out at us with all these distractions nonstop. So that's what I'm about. I'm about waking up. I'm about my consciousness. I'm about sharing that with you and sharing my journey of awakening as I go forward. Again, as I always say, come in and have your own experience. Don't believe or disbelieve anything I have to say. Just take what works for you and what resonates for you. So I'm bummed that Tompkins left the planet, but I am grateful for the work he did. So I'll continue to filter through all that. We did have the eclipse on Monday when he transitioned. And hopefully you took part in the Global Unity Meditation. I did post it on some of my pages. I tried to get a video up, but I really was I had so much anxiety going on within me about the eclipse, and I really couldn't put my finger on why I was so anxious. I was muscle tested, and my doctor said that I had some, I'm just looking up this giant crow that's kind of overseeing me here, watching me while I make my video today. She said it was really interdimensional and that I was stressing about what's happening dimensionally and, not being able to control anything with the astrological movements of the stars and the planets. And yeah, that's probably pretty much true. I think being in separation here on planet Earth, we all have an issue about not being in control or not knowing what's going to happen. So I had a little bit of that going on for me. So I just couldn't pull it together to put a video up. But hopefully you took part in the Global Unity Meditation that was scheduled for 11:11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday the 21st. I know I did. And when I looked at the sun, and good, bad, or indifferent, I've always looked directly at the sun. I grew up on Lake Michigan as a child watching sunsets every single day. And I remember being told, don't look at the sun, don't look directly at the sun. And I've always looked directly at the sun. And so once again, on the eclipse, I looked right at it. And what I experienced was this shower of like green light pouring down on me from the sun. It was really beautiful. And then I went into the meditation, focusing on anchoring the light from above and the light from below, and just these pillars of light, connecting them and moving them through my body, through the earth, out into the galactic universe, to those who are supporting our expansion and our shift in consciousness here on this planet. So there was some great, there was a great crop circle that came in too, and I'll post the link to it, where it almost looks like a radio tower with the eclipse, and it just like all this data, looked like a data download stream coming straight into us during this eclipse time. So again, we are really trying to collectively come together to create this positive timeline and move humanity forward into disclosure so that we can all know what's going on. We can all know the truth so that we finally can be free from all of the garbage and all of the BS that goes on this planet, and we can take a hold of our collective consciousness and our collective nature of our species and move forward into the positive timeline. So that's what I've been focusing on. I'm also having another ceremony, a Hempai ceremony, this Friday in my home. If you know me and you're local and you want to come, don't hesitate to do a shout out to me. I would love for you to join us. Angelo is going to take it up another notch. So he told me we're going to be drinking some mud this week. So I'm looking forward to it. I had an incredible experience the last time he was here, and I'm just looking forward to where it's going to take me now. After having had this whole summer to kind of go through all these other changes, I'm looking forward to getting that cleared out of me through Angelo, have that energy shift, and just move forward on a positive timeline myself. I follow David Wilcock. I don't know if you're a fan. I am a fan, and he had an experience this last week where his brakes went out, and he felt that he was being directly attacked. That and William Tompkins has passed, and then Graham Hancock, who's a mentor of Wilcox and has written an excellent book, Fingerprints of the Gods, and other books, many other books, and is currently working on one. He's been on death's door the last couple months. So a lot of these people who are providing information to us are being attacked or passing away. So it's important that we really come together collectively and say that we want this information, that we want this positive timeline, that we want to wake up, that we want to learn, we want to know the truth. And when we become seekers, the information will magnetically be drawn to us. So really just put out that vibration, that frequency that you want to know the truth. And we collectively as a species, hopefully will create this wave of energy that brings forth all truths to us. And I mean, from what I've been learning, there's going to be a lot of ugly truths that come out when we learn what's really been going on, who's really in control, what's really happening. But brace yourselves, keep yourselves grounded. We want all of this out. We want to know, because we can't change anything if we don't know what's really happening. So it's essential that we are grounded, that we're meditating, and that we are keeping our vibrational frequency high so that we can receive these data downloads, we can receive the truth, and we can shift the timeline that humanity's on into this really positive one towards a golden age. That's what I'm seeking. I hope that's what you're seeking. I did a show back in the spring with Deborah Drake, and I did on elemental evolution with Sherry Fisher. And this doctor, well, she's not a doctor anymore, but Deborah Drake, amazing information, was talking about flukes and parasites and how a lot of conditions can be explained by flukes and parasites in our bodies. And this past week, I came to the realization that I've got a lot of issues with my throat chakra. It's shut down. And as a result, my thyroid is not balanced. And the doctor I worked with this week said that when she muscle tested me, she found that I had a parasite in my thyroid. So that was, and it was interesting because right after I had done this interview with Deborah Drake, I decided to do a parasite cleanse, and I got super, super sick. And I didn't realize that this is part of the process, flu-like symptoms, getting really sick when you're pushing these parasites out of your body. So unfortunately, I only did it a partial way and then stopped because I wasn't feeling well. So now, as I was explained today, I've got to go 10 days on, 10 days off, 10 days on, 10 days off, 10 days on, 10 days off, because you have to clean out the eggs that are in the body. And I just am so disgusted by it. I can't even think about it. I'm also going to try rifing. Where they emit a frequency into the body to explode the eggs. But again, you got to go back and forth, do it for a couple days and then a couple days off and then go back and do it for a couple more days, because you have to clear out the other eggs that haven't hatched yet and when they hatch. And this is all in our bodies, and I'm so disgusted by it. I'm also going to go down to this lab in Carlsbad and have my blood drawn and see all of the parasites that are in my body, so I can get into an optimal health state for myself and the rest of my family. I'm going to take everyone in my family and do this. So I will share that journey with you too. Good, bad, and the ugly. Yikes. But it's more than likely a lot of us have this in us and going on. And if this can get my thyroid right with everything I've been through, I think it would be just a godsend. It would be a blessing, and I'm looking forward to getting that information. So outside of that, I still want to send some prayers and thoughts out to my friend Jazzy. I love you so much. I hope that you're watching. If you don't remember, my friend Jazzy had a stroke in the end of July, late July, and I haven't heard from her since. I did finally get an address for you, Jazzy, and I sent you some flowers. I hope that you got them. I wanted you to know that I'm thinking about you, and I'm sending you prayers and love always for healing. I hope that you're going through some amazing growth during this quiet time of contemplation that you're in, and we just love you and keep thinking about you. So we haven't forgotten about you, and I need you back so that you can converse with me. I'm learning so much and growing, and I want to share it because you're like my sounding board, and we always go back and forth sharing all this information we're finding. So I'm missing you on that. Well, outside of that, I am going to get back to the Law of One. I tried to put a video up last week. My internet was not working in my home. I wasn't able to get it posted. It felt ominous. I was sharing information about Akhenaten and the pyramids, and really about 15 pages of the book. I'm going to read a little bit more and maybe create a new video if I can't get that one up. Once I even got it to YouTube, YouTube wouldn't even process it. So I just don't know if it was being blocked completely or if I was just having a bad day of internet. I've got a crow up here watching me still, and seems to be very interested in what I'm putting out here. Oh, last thing, I wanted to talk about my new necklace here. And this is from this beautiful company, Third Eye Pine Cone. And this was a gift for me on my birthday. If you remember, I had a birthday earlier in the month, and this was from my mom. I thought it was incredibly thoughtful for her to find this item and send it to me. So, says that this is handcrafted in Santa Cruz, California. It's from the heart of the world's densest pine cone. It is a species which can only reproduce in forest fires, the knob cone pine. It says, and it's a talisman, and it feels very powerful. It feels very healing, and I've been enjoying wearing it. In the center here is crushed malachite, and it actually glows in the dark. So pine cone representing our pineal gland in the center of our head. Beautiful company. If you want to look it up, it's thirdeyepinecone.com. You can check it out. I believe she ordered it from Etsy. They have this beautiful card that moves and has shining and beautiful. And it's funny, I've been out and really I've had a ton of compliments on this necklace, and people are like, I love your pine cone, and I'm like, that's so funny. I wouldn't even realize if I'd seen it on someone prior to becoming aware of it. So check it out. I love the talisman, and I love the energy that it's bringing to me. And I'm just thrilled to be back up online. If you have any questions, write them in the comments. I'll do any shows that you want on any information you're interested in seeking. And as always, have your own experience. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. We're all on this journey together. So let's collectively come together in unity and pray for ascension on a positive timeline for our species, for the planet, and for all the positive beings that are assisting us here during this time. All right, have a great day, and I'll be back soon. Take care.